Hi, everybody. Welcome to Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Graham Elwood, the political vigilante. He's on tour with Ron Placone. Where are you guys going?
We're doing the Progressive Comedy Tour, Jimmy. May 9th, we're going to Tempe, Arizona. May 10th, Lake Havasu. May 11th, Las Vegas. May 12th, San Diego. So it's just Ron and I doing kind of progressive jokes that we could never do anywhere else. So come on out and go to GrahamElwood.com for tickets.
Go to GrahamElwood.com for those the Progressive Comedy Tour tickets. Wow, that sounds like fun. Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd sell more tickets.
All right. Maybe
He's leaning towards Arizona, I think.
we should book something in
Because we want to
Arizona.
go walk with the teachers.
Yes.
We support the teachers.
We should. Let's do a show. Why don't we book something in Tucson?
I'll go. I went to University of Arizona.
And that's in Tempe, right?
That's in Tucson.
Oh, in Tucson?
Yeah, I love Arizona.
Tucson's pretty, I heard Tucson is pretty liberal.
It is very.
Or progressive, put it
Yeah, it's
that
a progressive college town.
way. Okay. So maybe we'll go to Tucson. Or do you say Tuscan? So comedy in the time of Trump, right? So now I barely have any Trump jokes in my act, right? I have maybe 2 solid Trump jokes. And you know why? Because every other jagoff in the world is out doing Trump jokes. You know, it's just come on, right? And so it gets to be low-hanging fruit. And so I try to challenge myself to do something different, right? It's like when I started comedy, everybody was doing dating jokes, and I was like, I don't want to go do dating jokes. Everybody's doing dating jokes. So it's harder. You try to, I always tried to be different. That's more fun for me. Now, in this age of Trump, I'm not saying that you shouldn't make fun of Trump, but listen to what Norm Macdonald says. Now, Norm Macdonald is, now I know him personally, and we used to sit out by the fire at Todd Glass's house, and we would have lots of fun chats, right? And now he's a contrarian, as all good comedians are. Norm Macdonald's a contrarian, and he's one of the funniest guys in the history of funny, right? He's just funny. He makes me laugh so hard. And you know what else I love about him? Is that when we first met him, we loved his impressions that he would do of Bob Dole and of Burt Reynolds. And if you asked him, he would do them for us. That was unbelievable. Because most people won't. They're like, God, I don't want to dag in my dick. He would. Remember that?
Oh, my God. It was like the biggest thrill of my
was a
life.
thrill.
I'm like, Norm,
What a
can
thrill.
you do Burt Reynolds? And he did it.
And he did it.
And I lost my mind.
I lost my mind, too.
Forever, I'm a fan.
So, and it's really hard for me to be myself around a guy like Norm Macdonald. Because I look up to him so much comedically. I opened for him in like 1993 in Chicago before he was famous. Mm-hmm. And even then I looked up to him. And I was not myself around him. So here they ask him about comedy in the age of Trump, but let's hear what he has to say.
Get caught not understanding.
So comedy in the time of Trump, is it more difficult than it was when you were on Saturday Night Live?
It's more difficult in the time of Trump for good comedians, and it's way easier for bad comedians. You don't have a worldview by just saying you don't like Trump. You know what I mean? That doesn't count. Like you can't just say I hate Trump, and that makes you a good person. And the Democrats just can't say I hate Trump, and that means they have a position. That's no position.
Whoa.
That's amazing.
Wow.
He's nailing it.
I'm so conflicted right now because when I was on Last Comic Standing 3 years ago, he told me on camera to quit comedy and become a dog walker, and I wanted to punch him in the throat. But this actually, I'm down with him saying this.
Well, I didn't know he said that to you.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I got bounced off in the first round. Yeah. And I laughed and played it off, but...
Like you're supposed to.
Like you're supposed to. And I laughed, and then he made fun of me. He goes, wow, he went over to Iraq and Afghanistan. Must have been tough for the soldiers. The crowd booed him, and I went, well, I was doing shows for Al-Qaeda. Is this a bad time to bring that up? I got to laugh. But I was always
they booed him, and you got the laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was nice.
But I was like, yeah, man, I'll just advance me one round. It would have helped. My road money would have gone up.
He didn't know you personally.
Yeah, I think he did.
Really?
He wrote on Strip Poker, the game show I hosted. Yeah.
He wrote on that show?
Yeah, he did some jokes on it. He just came in and wrote some jokes on it, so he knew who I was.
Oh, that's
so
no
disappointing.
good.
So disappointing. I mean, this is a nice interview he's doing, but
this was going to be me saying nice things about him. And then you do that. And then that happens. That's too bad. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
That's unfortunate. So it just goes to show you
I didn't mean to drop a bomb
that
on
there's
this.
lots of different sides. Everybody has a, if you see crimes and misdemeanors, everybody's got a dark side.
But I respect him for saying this on a
So this is awesome that he's saying this. This is awesome that he's saying this. Because he's right about this. And here we go. Let's listen to what else he says.
So for idiots, it's an easier time because you go, well, that guy's the idiot, not me. But if you try to do smart comedy, it's better to stay away from Trump.
Nor
So what do you think? I'll tell you what I think. Do you want to tell me what you think first about that? I think he's hitting he's onto a truth.
Well, he's dead on, and this is the thing. And we've all, the three of us have talked about this off camera, is just in Los Angeles, we've seen so many comics who don't have anything to say. They're not talking about, and they'll have.
Oh, God damn it.
I know. And they got one Trump joke. Oh, the Trump with the orange skin. I'm like, okay, what got us here? Like, no one is willing. I saw Tim Black post on Twitter. He goes, I'm so sick of listening to these late night comics act like Obama years was so great. And it's like, that's why, honestly, I'm not trying to jam a plug in here. That's why Ron and I decided to do a progressive comedy tour, because there's so much material I can't do in a regular comedy. I can, but like if I go after the Democrats and their corruption in LA, I'm gonna, people are gonna, and it's like this show is the only place I can make these jokes in my own show.
Well, I will say this, Graham. I did at your podcast festival. I did the stand-up show that you guys had. I was on it, and I went up after a couple comedians had done that.
Right.
Talked about how much they hated Trump and that he was the problem, and
MSNBC's great.
MSNBC was great and all that stuff. Yes, that literally was a comedian saying how much they loved Rachel Maddow and MSNBC, and so I went up and I couldn't, so I guess that's why I'm a comedian. I couldn't not say something. So I went up and I did that bit about, everybody's talking about the Muslim ban. Barack Obama bombed them. That's why they're coming to the United States. That's why Trump's banning them, because Barack Obama just spent 8 years bombing them. What did you have to do? Bomb them at the airport for people to get pissed off? And people applauded that but that's also a different crowd. Your podcast festival is not a regular comedy club crowd. That's an elevated crowd.
Yeah, that's a very well-informed. I think a podcast audience, you have people who listen to ideas, this podcast and conversations. They're not just getting sound bites and getting their information from memes or like the New York Times Twitter feed.
Right.
They're listening to comedians have reasonable debates.
Right.
Not corporate media, you're red, I'm blue, fight. But like in this long form digital content of podcasts and YouTube, we can sit there and go, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, you changed. I hadn't considered that.
Right.
You can't say that on CNN.
No.
So I think that's why in that context, those types of audiences, when you find those little islands, they're so. The first time I was on your show at Flappers, it changed my life because I feel like I'm insane just yelling into my phone for my political vigilante shows sometimes, and then that crowd, I was like, oh, they're out there and they're so smart. That's what Norm Macdonald's talking about.
Yeah.
And we were talking right before we came in, we were talking about how it's weird hearing comedians in Los Angeles talk about the homeless.
Oh my God.
And, Graham pointed out, he goes, how about you take 5 seconds and say, why
People
are there
homeless.
more homeless people than ever before?
I know.
What's the problem? Instead of like just the awful stuff that they say about homeless, as if they have no empathy, and that's cool.
One of the things that reinvigorated me about comedy was doing the FNX, the First Nation Comedy Experience that you were both on. And I met all these Native American comics because there's a whole separate Native circuit. And man, they have stuff to say, and they're talking about, and in a funny way, they're doing what Norm's talking about. In a very intelligent way, they're dispelling stereotypes and misconceptions about Native Americans in a very funny way. All the dumb crap that's said to them, they're calling out bullshit like blood quantum. They're talking about Standing Rock. They're talking about all this like stuff. And I was like, oh, this is... I was reinvigorated because I'm like, doing this show and doing that FNX show, I was like, this is what the art, which is what Norm is talking about. This is what the art and craft of stand-up comedy should be, questioning people. And if I can get you to laugh, you're more likely to hear my side of it versus if we argue.
That is correct.
And that's why it's for intelligent people. Idiots can just go, hey, orange skin, Trumpy Trump.
Saying you don't like Trump, that's not a worldview.
It's fantastic.
And so he's right about that, even though he was mean to you. I've had that happen with people, you know, that's not fun. That's not fun when that happens. People are mean to you for no reason who are more famous than you.
Well, I will even say that, you know, for years going to comedy clubs and watching Jimmy perform or, you know, being able to perform too, and that so many times I would hear people's punchlines say, and it was a Mexican.
Yeah.
And and it was like, wow, it was uncomfortable because there would be people that I really, really like and that they had no kind of like concept of what they were saying.
Yes.
Or it sounded disparaging. I didn't understand what the audience was laughing at. And I was sitting there, I'm like, I'm the Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's interesting to see somebody talk about, you know, the idea of what real comedy is.
Yeah.
Right now in the age of Trump. But, you know, what was comedy in the age of Obama? What was comedy? Because I recall that you were on stage on 9/11. Was it the day after 9/11 happened and you were in Largo and it was like, what were we all going to talk about?
The day after 9/11 was Largo. Right? Or maybe 2 days after?
It was, yes. It was very...
It was the next, whatever. It was very soon after 9/11 happened that there was this alternative comedy, which was these kind of the center of alternative comedy in the West Coast anyway, was at Largo. And yeah, I remember that.
Well, see,
then people got on stage. Go ahead.
Well, finish your thought, and I'll go ahead.
No, but you could tell you had to talk about it. You can't get on stage and talk about dating a couple days after 9/11. Mm-hmm. And there was, you know, there was a lot of good comedy that came out of that because people confronted things instead of pretending and scapegoating.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. And what did you want to say?
Well, I just even now just responding again to Norm's point of view about this kind of low-hanging fruit idea about
Yes.
Donald Trump, that, you know, when I see comedians that I really enjoy and that they're just doing all this Trump bashing, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump.
Right.
But Donald Trump is like the pus of the problem. You know, the real problem is what got us here.
That's right. And that's what I choose to admit. That's what I try to do jokes about. What got us here? Mm-hmm. What got us Donald Trump? And a lot of people, Stephen Colbert included, just want to do jokes about Donald Trump. It's sad.
It is sad, and that's the thing that corporate media will allow. They will only allow you to make fun of this one Trump, his crazy hair, his orange skin. You know, oh, he's a liar. But you won't acknowledge any of the other lies that got us here. You won't acknowledge the lies of this. I mean, you know,
why do we have shitty health care?
Why
Right.
why are millennials the dumb millennials? You mean the one that are drowning in student loan debt? Those millennials
With no job prospects?
nothing. Those ones who
Why are they upset with the system? Why won't they support a corporatist warmonger who offers them nothing?
Yeah, and they're
Because
only
they could go and work at Amazon. They could work at a fulfillment center.
Yeah, why don't they go to Amazon or Walmart and get a job that
Yeah.
doesn't pay a living wage and then go on assistance and
then
quit whining?
You have to go get a job that pays you crappy wages, and then be thankful that you then also have to Uber on the side to supplement your fucking life. But let's blame them in avocado toast and Trump. You know?
I am angry at avocado toast, though.
I'm angry at avocado toast.
I talked a lot of crap. I don't like it. I mean, it's just avocado. It knows what it did. It's worse than what Norm said to me on Last Comic Standing.
Please make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you are, you probably aren't. It only takes a second to check. Please check to make sure you're subscribed and then click that bell so they send you a notice when we drop videos. That's what you have to do, and I appreciate it if you do that. And if you can become a patron, we give you hours of bonus material every week. We do a solid chat where you can ask us questions every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific. You ask us questions, we'll answer them. That's a live, solid chat on Saturdays, 2 p.m. Pacific. Plus, we're on Steam It. We're steaming it right now, and our next live show is July 1st in Portland, Oregon. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for all our dates. Thanks for your support.